Stay hard. Welcome back to Gossip Queens and Fantasy Things.
We are your hosts. I'm Taven.
I'm Addie.
Welcome back to another week, another episode.
Yeah, we were gone last week. So much has been happening.
It's been a busy, October was a busy month.
October was busy, and we were going to do Urban Legends last week for Halloween, but I flew into town, like, the day we were going to record, and I'd had all red-eye flights, so I was like, we're not doing that. Sorry, no Halloween episode.
We pre-recorded the Over the Garden Wall episode so that you guys could still have content while Addie was out of town, but we didn't pre-record as many as we needed to.
And, now Halloween's over, and
we're not feeling it.
R.I.P. Urban Legends. We're done with
We're
that.
never getting to it. Maybe next year.
Maybe, we'll save that for next year. We are just too ready to talk about our book club book.
Yeah.
But I guess
we said we were going to do it in October, too, so we've given them plenty of time.
November.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, it's been plenty of time for them to finish. I finished 2 of them.
Yeah.
In this amount of time, so
I think we're ready, but, any updates?
Well, I have a funny story from this week of me absolutely breaking my body. I, in Cody's favorite fashion, fell down some stairs.
He loves when Taven falls downstairs.
I was helping my mom unpack some of the stuff out of her trailer, and I was carrying this really heavy box, and there's like 3 really far spaced apart stairs leading up to the trailer, and they're metal. And it was raining that day, and I was wearing slippers, so it was probably a little bit my fault, honestly. But
why were you wearing slippers?
Just because I wanted to be warm. It was like cold, and they were indoor
Put on
outdoor
socks
slippers,
and shoes, buddy.
So yeah, on the very top step of the trailer, I just slip and I don't even recall, honestly. Like 1 second I was at the top of the stairs, next second, and we have these like gas cans at the bottom of the trailer. And I was just laying in the middle of those. The box was just, everything in it was just a strew across the lawn. I was like, what happened? It just all happened so fast. But I came in and I'm like limping, and my mom's like, are you okay? Like, you should probably not continue to help me out. Like, you should go lay down. And I was like, yeah, it's probably a good idea, because it's that pain that like knocks the wind out of you, but you're also just like frozen. So you're just like sitting there just like, for a second,
Probably quit rubbing your legs for feedback.
Okay.
Taven's like rubbing her legs.
It's
I
cold!
feel like the microphone's gonna get some feedback.
But yeah, anyway, I've been pretty much out of commission until like literally today. I started like getting up and moving around a little bit, but I just had to lay in bed like a little baby all week because my back hurt. It still hurts really bad. You came to our
Halloween party.
Yeah, but I wasn't doing much. I was just sitting there talking to our friends, but so that's my update is that I've just been oh my god, I finished the Vampire Diaries.
Okay.
Because I've been rewatching it, and
yeah.
I forgot how sad the last episode is.
I literally barely remember what happened.
Ugly crying for like an hour. I just forget like who dies and how many people die, and then it's just like really like touching, like when, spoiler alert, Stefan sacrifices himself. But then it shows like Damon and Elena going to the afterlife, and Elena's like reunited with her family, and Damon and Stefan are like reunited in the Salvatore house.
I thought Elena came back to life.
No, she did. So like Stefan sacrifices himself, Elena wakes up from her slumber, and her and Damon live like a long happy human life together. But then in the very last scene of the finale, it shows her and Damon going to the afterlife, like when they're old and they've just died of natural causes. Elena like goes up to the front porch of her family home and gets to see like Jenna.
Oh, maybe I remember that.
Then Damon like knocks on the Salvatore house and like gets to hug Stefan again. I was like,
Did you see that Nina Dobrev got engaged this week?
She did?
Yes. So Nina Dobrev, she plays Elena in the Vampire Diaries, if you didn't know. She's been dating Shaun White, the Olympic snowboarder, for like 5 years.
Yes.
Anyways, they got engaged this last week, so I thought that was really cute. I follow her on Instagram.
Didn't her and Ian Somerhalder date for a little bit?
They did. I think they dated for maybe like a couple years on the show. But he married Nikki Reed, who plays Rosalie in Twilight, in the Twilight series.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
And they've been married for quite some time, actually. So
okay, interesting. I always see him on Instagram because him and Steph, or whatever Stefan's real name is, have
Paul Wesley.
Yeah, they have that like whiskey company together now. It's so cute.
Anyways, so there's a little Vampire Diaries lore background for you, I guess.
The last episode will make you ugly cry, because it also shows, like, Caroline starting up the school with Rick, and then it shows, like, her mom comes, and, like, all the people that they've lost kind of come and just, like, good job, like, I'm proud of you for going on and living your life, and I just was just sitting alone in my room, just sobbing. I was like, God, it's so sad.
Too depressing.
But it's a good time to rewatch The Vampire Diaries.
Yeah, and perfect time to end it now that spooky season's over. So,
yeah. Feel good about it.
Taven's in full Christmas swing right now. I'm not quite there yet, but...
Audie was like, what intro should we do? I was like, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
No, that seems a little premature.
As far as I'm concerned, November 1st is Christmas.
I want November to last. I'm not quite ready for Christmas yet, so...
I'm sorry. I love the Christmas. I got, like, a little, like, nostalgic glimpse of, like, Christmas in my mind today. I was just, like, doing something and just, like, flashed before my eyes. I was like, oh my God. I love it.
Love
so
Christmas
excited.
Time. I just feel like I've been so busy lately, and Christmas is the busiest time of the year, so I'm like, please God.
Yeah, that's true. I don't want to, like, shop for gifts or anything yet. I'm not ready for that. Like,
not even that, just, I feel like there's always so many events in December. It's like family parties, friend parties, and then you're like, people are in town who are out of town, so you're like meeting up for dinners. I feel like December always ends up being so packed, which is fun, but right now I honestly just feel like poop.
Like, I just want to chill.
I'm like pretty burned out with social
relax.
activity. I told Cody on the drive up here, I'm like, this winter we're doing cozy Cody winter. I'm like, we're not leaving our house Monday through Friday. People can come to our house, but I'm not leaving
I'm not
the
going
house.
Anywhere.
So
I feel like we mostly end up going to your house anyway. So.
Yeah. But I was saying we'll reschedule filming dates for the podcast too, either Saturday or Sunday, because my weekday nights, I'm not leaving my home.
I mean, I don't really do much on the weekends, except hang out with you or my boyfriend who doesn't live here. So
yeah, so perfect. It'll be fine. Great. Perfect. All right. Well, we'll just dive right into our book, A Touch of Darkness. If you haven't read the book, that's okay. I feel like you should just listen anyways. The book is about Hades and Persephone, Greek mythology. If you aren't familiar, you're a moron, but I'll give you a little rundown.
Whoa.
I just feel like that's like the most popular Greek mythology story.
Yeah.
Hades is the god of the underworld. You're not really a moron. I'm really sorry. You should have said that. I feel bad.
Gotcha.
Okay. Hades is the god. And I'm not summarizing the book right now. I'm letting you know Greek mythology. Just what's happening. Hades, god of the underworld. There's the three big gods: Zeus, Poseidon, Hades.
Yeah,
they're brothers. Hades got the underworld, and then Persephone. She's Demeter's daughter. Demeter is the goddess of the harvest, and Persephone is the goddess of spring.
Yeah.
So that's kind of who they are in the Greek world. Persephone does end up becoming Hades' wife because he like tricks her in the underworld.
She eats like 7 pomegranate seeds.
Yeah, she like eats something down there because he's like, basically if you eat, then you have to stay. But
they work out a deal.
So she can have 6 months not in the underworld and then 6 months in the underworld, and that's like accounting for spring and then winter. Yeah. Spring is when Persephone can leave the underworld, and you have 6 months spring and summer, and then when she goes back, that is fall and winter. So that's a little basic rundown of the Greek mythology of Hades and Persephone. Very basic, yeah. And so while she was a prisoner in the mythology, she is not in almost every retelling I've ever heard of Hades and Persephone. It's really become just
romantic as hell, yeah.
Yes, people are thirsty for Hades and Persephone content. Actually, oh, have you read Lore Olympus? Okay, I'm gonna put y'all onto something that's really good. Lore Olympus, it's a webtoon, like a webcomic.
Oh, okay.
They do have printed books of it. The art style is so pretty. I really, really like it. But it's a Hades and Persephone story, and it's my favorite one I've ever read. It's so fun. I feel like Persephone's character design is really cute. She's like short, and her skin is pink, and her hair is pink.
Oh, cute!
And it's cute. And Hades is tall, and he's blue. And it's just such a fun telling of the story, and it's cute. It's not smutty. Touch of Darkness, our book club book, smutty as hell. Good lord.
It's a little smuttier than I was expecting, honestly.
Yeah. But so if you want a Hades and Persephone, no smut, lore Olympus, I would highly recommend.
Lore, like Lore?
Yeah, Lore, and then Olympus. And it's really fun, and it has, like, all the gods and goddesses, and it's a little more, like, modern. It's, like, set a little more modern. Like, the underworld is, like, a business, you know? Hades is always in, like, a suit, you know? He's, like, running a business down there.
Do you know how hard it was for me reading this book to not picture the Hades from Hercules? When I first started reading it, I was like, get that image out of your mind. You can't have that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I had a hard time with Hades too.
Oh yeah.
We're jumping right. Okay, a little background on our book club book. If you haven't read, it's a modern day retelling of Hades and Persephone. Yeah. So Persephone, she's a college student in New Athens. It's like still a fictional society, but she's a journalist major. She's a hot journalist major, and she just got an internship.
How unexpected.
She just got an internship at the biggest journalism firm, and
Athens News.
She's writing the biggest story, the headline story on Hades as her first day as an intern. So stupid.
She's like so confident, and oh my god, it gets so much worse in the second book.
So that's a little where it's set. But then Hades is still like, kind of, like, the underworld is ancient Greek, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like where the gods are, they come in and out of the modern world, but their worlds are very, like, classic ancient Greek. Like, when they're in the underworld, he's wearing the freaking toga, you know?
Yeah.
By the way,
what is toga?
What do they call it?
There was, like, his toga. There was, like, a specific word for it that's, like...
It's not toga?
No. It was, like, Greek, and it's... I can't remember.
His wrappings? His dressings?
No, there's a word for it, but it's like Hermes shows up in it too in one scene. He's like, Hermes was wearing his classic... I don't know.
I don't know.
I'd have to find out.
I will say, though, Hades' toga, the way it's described in one of the scenes, it's too easy access.
It's very scandalous.
I feel like it's just open straight down the middle. Anyways, we'll get into that later.
Gotta show off your assets.
Guys, I'm serious. If you haven't read the book, you don't need to.
Oh.
I was going to say you don't need to because we're going to go through it all right now.
I'm going to go through it page by page, actually. We're just going to read it to you.
Okay, so I feel like that sets the scene well enough. Let's get back to our impressions of Hades. Let's talk about our impressions of both characters.
Okay. I actually had a hard time, like, picturing Persephone throughout the book. Like, especially because it tells it from her point of view, so I was kind of just imagining her as me the whole time.
Yeah.
But I didn't really have, like, an image of her, except that it said she's, like...
She's blonde.
Curly blonde hair, yeah.
Yeah, and she has, like, green eyes, and she has, like, her goddess form, but she hides it. It's, like, masked while she's in the real world. Yeah. So all the gods and goddesses, they have, like, antlers or horns.
Yeah, which is interesting.
But so she has to hide her. She wears, like, a glamour to, like...
The pee so freaking bad.
Bad timing, boo.
I know. Devin was in the bathroom before we started.
Oh, you can go if you want. I'll just keep talking about it.
It's fine. I started drinking. Okay, let me clarify. Actually, I've been addicted to like sparkling water. Like I drink cans and cans of sparkling water every day. But I figure that's probably not the best way to stay hydrated. So Addie and Cody bought me a water bottle that has like lines for like every hour you're supposed to drink like this much water. And I started using it again yesterday. I'm like, I'm just gonna drink plain, disgusting, regular, gross-ass water. And I've had to pee, like, every 10 minutes.
Steven, the thing is, if you were still drinking that much sparkling water, you'd still have to pee
That's what I was asking my mom this morning. I was like, why am I peeing so much more now? Like, I drink, like, seriously, like, a can of sparkling water, like, every hour. Like, it's a lot. So I'm like, why did I not have to pee that much then, but I do now? Like, I don't... Maybe it's the carbonation that makes you not have to pee.
I don't think that should affect your pee stream.
I don't know, but it's so weird. Like, I was, like, FaceTiming with Jordan last night, and it literally every, like, 10 seconds I was like, BRB!
I think maybe you weren't drinking as much sparkling water as you thought you were drinking.
I drink a lot. Like, if you look at my mini fridge in my room right now, it is stocked to the brim.
So stocked to the brim, so you weren't drinking it. It's
Well,
all
I just went to the store today. Got some more. Anyway.
Okay, anyways. So yeah, so they have glamours, and she has horns. And then, Persephone, I feel like, I didn't picture her as myself, per se, but I feel like main characters, I always have a hard time envisioning. Yeah. Honestly, any characters, I have a really hard time, like, when I'm reading, I have an image, but I can't keep it in my mind. As soon as I'm done reading, I'm like, It's gone.
Who is that guy?
I couldn't describe that character to you, what I was thinking of.
Yeah, that's fair.
But then Hades, how they described him, I had some beef with the description of Hades. He's got, like, long dark hair.
Wavy, dark hair.
I'm sorry if you're a man with long, dark hair. I don't like it.
Which is so funny, because that's exactly my type. Like, every guy that I usually go for is long, dark, wavy hair.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, what did I tell you I was picturing? We had this conversation recently.
I know, because then I told you to picture someone else
Will Turner.
instead.
You told me to picture, like, Will Turner from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Or, like, Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
What was I thinking of?
I don't remember, but it was so bad. I was like, you can't picture him like that.
I was like, that's literally all I can think of.
I don't know.
Alright, well, I'll keep thinking if it comes back to me. But
he's got, like, facial hair. He's, like, really tall.
Yeah, he's like really tall. And I didn't like that he had facial hair, either.
I love it.
I didn't like that. I feel like the Hades should not have a beard. I don't know. That seems wrong. It seems off-putting. And then he was, like, so tall. He's, like, 6'7". I'm like, that's too tall. And
she has to, like
5 foot tall. Yeah, she's, like,
over her
craning her neck. But for their other activity, she's the perfect height. So, you know, I guess that
she doesn't even have to get on her knees.
So, anyways, I had a hard time picturing some of the characters in this book. But
That's fair.
Let's keep setting the scene. So Persephone, we have her job, right?
Yeah.
Now Hades, he's in and out of the mortal realm because he has his underworld to run.
Which is literally in the basement of his nightclub, by the way.
So when he's in the mortal world, he's running his nightclub.
He's got businesses.
And the whole thing is Hades makes, like, deals with mortals. They come to his casinos and his clubs and they, like, wager with him. And he'll make a deal for their soul, like, but he'll do it for, like, drunks and drug addicts and stuff, and he'll be like, if you can get clean, then I'll give you what you want, but if not, then you're dead.
Mine.
And so that's why everyone's like, he's so predatory, he's, like, taking advantage of all these people.
He's got a really bad reputation.
That's why Persephone is going in and she's writing her little story.
She's like, I'm gonna expose him, because he sucks.
She's always had a fascination with Hades. That's what it says at the beginning of the book.
But then everyone's like, don't write about Hades, he'll, like, give retribution, like he's gonna punish you. Like, don't write about the gods. She's like, also, I'm brave enough.
She's like, I can't write about the gods because her mom is letting her be. Her mom's, like, super controlling in the book.
She's the one that's, like, cloaking her with her magic.
Yes,
because Persephone doesn't have any powers.
And her mom has said, stay away from the gods.
Yeah.
Stay away from the gods. That's it. Oh, yeah, and she doesn't have powers.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's her mom's only rule. And then Persephone's like,
I'm gonna write about
the worst
Hades,
god, the god everyone hates. Whatever.
The one I know my mom hates the most.
But I guess it starts because she goes to Hades nightclub with her friends, and she ends up meeting Hades, but she doesn't know it's Hades, so she accidentally makes a wager with him. What is that?
I don't know how she didn't know. I think she...
How would you know?
How would you not know?
Because he cloaked himself too.
I guess, but you would know it's Hades.
I didn't know it was Hades.
You didn't?
Well, I think I knew as a reader.
The first moment she sat down, I was like, that's Hades.
Well, yeah, but as a reader, you can assume that. How would she assume that?
I guess. I don't know. Because she made a bargain with him. I don't know.
But he didn't say anything explicit, like, you're
this
making
is
a bargain with Hades.
That's true.
Because they're playing cards, and so he's like...
He starts teaching her.
Yeah, he's like, I can teach you, because the bargain isn't like, oh, I can teach you for something, and she's like, okay.
But then he introduces to the bargain later, he's like, you have to create life in the underworld.
Yeah. She should have just gotten pregnant in the underworld. She's so dumb.
So
easy way out.
What did she end up creating? Didn't she just get her powers and make a flower?
Oh yeah, she made, like, dark vines or something. Yeah. Like, her powers aren't even, like, good growing. It's
like dark vines with thorns on them.
Yeah.
Turn someone into a plant.
Oh yeah. And so anyway, so Persephone becomes entangled with Hades through this deal, but she's also writing her article about him, and Hades is like, oh, you have to make life in the underworld, so she has to go to the underworld every day after school now. She has to go to school, and then her internship, and then she has to go to the underworld. And they start banging so fast.
Immediately. So crazy, the timeline. It's like she meets him that first day. She goes to the underworld once, maybe, and then the second time, they're fucking.
Well, and okay, the writing is so confusing, because even the first time they kiss, like, it's the first time she goes to the underworld, and Hades takes her out to his garden in the underworld, and it's
Oh,
dead.
yeah.
And the whole point, he's like, I want to grow life down here because, like, I want that in the underworld.
Yeah.
And so he takes her out to the garden area. He's like, this is where you can work, you can practice with your powers, because she's a goddess of spring, so that's why he, like,
She
challenged
literally
her
brings,
to this.
like, a just human, like, plant seed and, like, some water and stuff to the underworld.
Moron. But so, they're out there in the garden, and then he says, like, once I grant my favor to you, you'll be able to come in and out of the underworld.
Yeah.
And that was it. That's
want.
like all. You'll be able to come whenever you want. No, he doesn't leave because he
Is that when they have sex?
No.
Oh.
He starts making out with her. He's like, yeah, you'll be able to come and go whenever you want. And then he just like grabs her and starts kissing her, and she like jumps up on him. She's like straddling him. He pushes her against the wall, and
the garden wall.
They're like making out hard. And then he like pulls back and puts her down, and he's like. And I'm, like, confused, because I'm like, whoa.
Did something happen?
Brother! My brother! And then he's like, then Persephone realizes, I don't even think he says it, because Persephone's like, I was so embarrassed when I realized that he had just granted me his favor. She thought he was into her, but that's how he grants favors, I guess, by just bestowing a kiss. He didn't have to do all that extra shit.
He didn't have to make out with her.
He didn't have to grab her and hoist her up.
He could have just, here's my favor. Oh, yeah, because the first time... He grants her favor for something else, like protection or something. Yeah. And he does, like, just kiss her forehead or something. Oh, yeah. But yeah, this time...
Oh my gosh, so
I was like... He grants his favor in a crazy way.
And that is literally the writing for every sexual moment or, like, romantic moment in the story. It's like, there will be something happening one moment. I'm gonna share another, actually. When they're in the nightclub another time... Persephone's there with this guy Adonis.
Oh my god, I forgot about Adonis.
And Adonis, he like works at the internship with her. He's a little slimy guy, and he basically tries to like assault her, I guess, at the nightclub. Yeah. You know? He's trying to all get with her or whatever, and so she's like freaking out. Hades comes, protects her. But so this is how the writing goes. Like, Adonis was all over me. I was so scared. Then a big figure came, rushed me out of the club, and put me in a limo. That quick. Okay, that's what happened, and she's like on the verge of tears because she's like,
oh my god,
and then she's like, then I slid into his lap and I felt his hard member, and I'm like, what the
and then she sucks his dick.
I was like, there's
on that limo ride.
Way. There's
After
no way.
Getting sexually assaulted, being so terrified, like in tears, and then she's like, you know what, Hades? I'm really feeling you right now.
And it's just so quick. There's like no bridge of dialogue between
I'm gonna kill him, and she's like, for me? Let me do something for you.
But she doesn't even say that.
I know.
That's what's so crazy about the writing. Cause it's like
the
whiplash.
transition is insane.
I literally, so many scenes I had to be like, I had to put my book down and I'd be like, Cody, come here. Am I crazy?
Literally, it's like that the whole book. And then maybe like 3/4 of the way through, it finally says like, a few months had passed and Hades and I got closer and closer. I'm like, there's a normal timeline.
Yes,
finally.
Thank you.
But the first, like, 2 weeks of them knowing each other, just absolutely insane.
Yes, but it's so much of it, they're so on and off, because she's, like, she can't believe she's having these feelings for him, and she's, like, trying to push it down, so then they have these really, like, passionate outbursts towards each other, and...
The one in the bath was my favorite
one. You talk about it, but then I'll talk about my query with it.
I feel like I don't remember too much, because I just finished the second book, so I'm having a hard time, like... remembering the details of the first book. Okay, then you share it, because I don't remember the details.
First of all, another reason why we started our podcast with the little stay hard quote. It's actually a David Goggins quote. Cody let me know. But, Hades is always hard in this book.
Erect 24/7.
Like, all the time.
Like, they'll literally just be having, like, the most serious conversation, and then she, like, climb into his lap, is like, oh, I feel him underneath me. I'm like...
And we'll share some more moments where it's like, oh my gosh.
There was no lead-up. Like, there was no sexy talk before that.
No. And so, okay, in the bathtub scene, she's, like, she had done her gardening or something. Oh, maybe she had been, like, with all the peasants in the underworld. I don't know.
Or she was talking to
Hecate.
Yeah. She was traversing the underworld.
She was doing something in the underworld, and they're like, and Hecate, I think you're right, I think it was Hecate, because Hecate's like, there's a bath, you can go in this, like, palace in the underworld to clean
Oh,
up.
yeah, and you go in
she...
Hades' private bath.
Yeah. And so she goes, and I picture the bath, like, in Harry Potter 4, like, the prefect's bathroom. That's kind of the vibe
I imagine that, but outdoors. With, like...
Outdoors? That's insane!
It described it as outdoors.
No, it didn't?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Because it was, like, his little private bath, but then there was, like, flowers and stuff, like, growing around them.
It could still be inside. Because he can't grow real
flowers. I imagined it outdoors. Like, what's the scene? There's, like, a bath scene in a book that we read recently. I think it was that, like, Mayan one that you had me read.
Yeah.
And they're, like, in the baths, and it's, like, all steamy, but the baths are all, like, outside. That's what I was picturing.
You know what, though? I still imagined that indoors.
That's crazy. Why are we picturing
that outdoor bath was, like, because it did say it was outdoors. It was among all the fauna, the flora and fauna.
Yeah.
Is that fauna? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Anyways, but I imagine, I don't know why I can't picture a bath outside, because I was like, it's gotta be like an enclosed, like a botanical garden. There's gotta be a glass ceiling.
Okay, I see what you mean.
It does
feel like wildly uncomfortable to take a bath outside, but...
Yeah. So, anyways, he has a bath. I picture it indoors. Taylor pictures it outdoors, whatever suits, whatever floats your boat. But it's big. It's like a pool, pretty much. And so she's in there, she's scrubbing off, and she has not been in there long, and Hades walks in. He walks in.
Erect.
Well, okay, he's got clothes on. He just walks in, and she turns around. I think he says one thing to her, and it's not a sexy thing. And it's not even a lead-up of, like, oh, can I join you? It's just like, what are you doing? Or something like that. She's like, oh, someone said I could use this bath. He takes his toga off.
Can I join you?
He's standing at attention and just walks in the bathtub. I'm like, what?
And then they don't even, like... I don't think they have sex in the bathtub.
Well,
they just get close.
No, they do some other stuff.
Yeah.
Because then here's a quote. Guys, I'm so sorry. This is like our most sexually explicit episode. This is explicit. Okay?
Double E.
But I have to tell you about it because it doesn't make sense.
So crazy.
This is what the writing is like. He's like, okay, so they're in the bathtub. They're submerged in water. Okay? And, he starts touching her. He's touching her and he's sexy talking and he's like, you're so wet. You're in the bathtub.
First of all,
I'm like, I'm a woman, so I feel like I know.
Yeah.
You can't quite tell when you're in a shower or bathtub because
the water, it, like, makes it, because if you've ever tried to have shower sex, you know that it's really hard because it's not as lubricated down there because you're in the shower.
Yeah, well, because here's the thing, because you are lubricated inside.
Yeah.
Like, you produce that, but when it gets a lot, that's when it goes outside, and that's when it's like, okay, sexy time.
Yeah.
So in the bathtub, you can't tell. I couldn't believe. I was like, I swear she got so caught up in her own sex scene and she just forgot where they were. She was
probably,
like,
honestly.
She's like, oh, this is hot. But I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
Oh my gosh, is this it?
Are you kidding? Did you turn right to it?
I think I just got to a scene that said you're so wet, so I don't know if this is the bathtub.
That's gotta be it. That's definitely it. See if it's an indoor or outdoor bath.
Well, it says he stripped her bare, so I don't know if this is the bathtub scene. Well, no, it is! It is!
They did a couple things in the bathtub.
Because it's May I Join You.
Oh,
he met in the pool, naked, where only water would provide cover. Yeah, I think it was outside.
Well, I think they had a couple bathtub scenes. They had, like, 2.
I think this is the first one.
That's the first one?
Yeah.
Anyways, it's just jarring. It's crazy.
Well, and then, too, Hades' assistant just walks in, and they're, like, doing stuff.
And
like,
she just keeps going. She keeps going.
And Mint walks in, and she's like, Hades, I need you're needed in the other room. And he's like, I'm busy. And they just keep fucking, and she just stays there and keeps talking to them. I'm like, what is going on?
I couldn't believe it.
Like, first of all, girl, leave. Second of all, stop having sex.
Here's my other thing. You're right. They didn't have sex. They were doing hand stuff.
Because
yeah. She's a virgin. That's the thing. She's a virgin at this point. And I'm like, listen. I think and she's never had any sexual experiences with anyone. And I think for this to be your first and you keep going when another person walks in the room, as someone who's never had sex, that's crazy to me. That feels like a move, like, if you're experienced and you're confident, not like you've never had sex and you like just got your first kiss 4 days ago, which is pretty much what happened with Persephone.
Okay, see, it says, and came to Hades' pool. It was a large oval surrounded by columns. Overhead, the ceiling was exposed to the sky.
Oh, but there's a ceiling.
So I think that's why I thought it was outside. I was picturing, like, columns, but then, like, just the open sky
but it's indoor.
above them.
Who's a better reader? Me.
Alright.
I'm just kidding. I literally could only picture the Harry Potter bath. That was, like, all I had in my mind.
That's a good bath. I would love to take a bath there. I wanted to see if he was fully erect, but he just joined her in the bath.
Oh, he was. I remember, because that's when I had to stop and reread. I was like, what?
So crazy.
So...
Should we talk about our favorite scene?
We do, because with him always being hard, he might be like, hey, that was sexy time there in the bath. No. Let us lay out a scene for you that truly describes the horror of this book, but also the joy. I can't lie, I loved reading this book.
It was a fun read.
It was a fun read. It's fun.
I wouldn't say a good read, but a fun read.
Okay. And this goes with our outfits. If you watch the YouTube, our outfits are inspired from this scene.
I remember this one very well.
Me too.
So
they did our boy Hades so dirty. They did the god, god of the underworld. They fucked him up in this scene. I'm sorry. That's embarrassing for him.
I came over one night to drop something off. To get a pair of shoes from Addie, and I was like, I know you haven't read it yet, but I have to tell you about this scene.
Yeah, this was before I had gotten there.
So cringy, and Addie, after I tell her, she literally, like, screams and goes and, like, hides behind the door. She's like, no!
I was like, I cannot read that.
It's so bad.
Okay.
So, Persephone likes to bake. She's just big into baking. That's one of her hobbies. And Hades is, like, trying to get to know her a little better. He's like, they're always going to the underworld. Like, they're always staying overnight there. And so Hades one night is like, I want to come over and, like, spend the night at your apartment. And she's like, oh my god, okay. Come over and bake cookies with me. And Hades shows up to her door, leans against, like, the doorway. He, like, knocks and, like, leans against the doorway in gray sweatpants and a black t-shirt, and is like, hey, I'm here to bake cookies. And Persephone's like, you didn't own those clothes before 20 minutes ago, did you? And he's like, no, I didn't. And
so they made this man go to a freaking Target. They made the god of the underworld take his ass to Target and get some gray-ass sweatpants and a black shirt. Also, how does Hades know? He is only wearing togas and suits, because at his casino he wears a suit and the underworld a toga. How the hell does he know that gray sweatpants are hot? Okay? Because they are. They're like the hot item. But he shouldn't know that. He doesn't know that.
And I feel like that was the author's attempt of, like, making him, like, a sexy modern man.
And I hated it.
And
so he could barely fit his freaking neck through the door.
Yeah, he, like, has to, like, crouch to get in her doorway.
Here's the other point that I love. When he goes in to bake, he comes in his new sweatsuit, his new swoop, and which is already horrendous. But it's her college apartment. She's in college.
She has a roommate.
She has a roommate, and her roommate has a boyfriend named Jason. So the roommate and Jason are hanging out on the couch.
They're like, oh, sup, Hades? Like, trying to be casual.
And the roommate's a weirdo, like, runs up to Hades and hugs him, and she's like, as long as you protect her, I don't care who you are. And then Hades is just giving, like, a bro wave to Jason, and I'm like, I'm gonna kill myself.
Sup, dude?
I can't.
I'm the god of the end.
Yeah, Jason's like, Jesus, Hades is here?
It's so ridiculous. And so then they're like, the two of them are like baking cookies together in the kitchen.
Okay,
and
Jason and this girl, why can't I remember the roommate's
Lexa.
name? Jason and Lexa are in the next room, right? They're watching a movie.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what the setup of their apartment is, but the kitchen
I
can't
imagine
be fully
living
closed
room,
off.
little hallway, door, kitchen. That's what I imagine.
I imagined the living room and the kitchen right next to each other, but there was just a wall.
Yeah.
So you could walk, like...
So not like an actual hallway, but like a little, like...
Oh, yeah, like a little terminal.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, they're baking cookies.
And then Hades... She's, like, mixing, and Hades, like, comes up and, like, hugs her from behind, fully erect.
And she's like, I could feel it on my back. I'm like, good girl, God, on your high back? On your high back?
If it's not at least, like, a little bit near my butt, that's crazy. Second of all, I don't want that touching my back. That
We're making
like...
cookies, and Jason and Lexa are in the next room.
And then they they don't even do anything, too. They just put the cookies in the oven,
and then
they go cuddle up on the couch next to Jason and Lexa.
Can you imagine? I bet Jason is like, good lord.
What a day.
He can see Tent City over there.
In the gray sweatpants.
Yeah, the gray sweatpants are hiding it. That's why they're sexy, okay? And so Jason is probably like, good God.
And they just, go cuddle up and watch a movie with them on the couch. The 4 of them. 3 normal people and the God of the Dead.
I hated it.
Watching a movie.
So demeaning.
It was
so demeaning to hate.
The whole book, I was like, Hades, damn. And then that scene, I was like, I'm done.
It's like you lost respect for him.
Yeah, literally.
And the author did that. She disrespected him in a way that was really uncalled for.
That you could not gain back.
No.
That respect is gone. Forever.
I'm sorry. If you have a position of authority like that, there's a reason you don't bake. There's a reason you're not in a college dorm making cookies. And I don't ever want to see your ass making a goddamn cookie.
That's what, literally, in the second book, Persephone finds Hades' kitchen, and it's like this elegant, elaborate, like, marble kitchen. I'm like, why could they not have baked cookies there? It would have been so much better.
That would have been better, and it would have been private.
It would have been so much better. And then, they wanted to have sex in the flower on the counter. That's hot,
also,
you know?
too, he's like, I want to be part of your life. Okay, here's a
There
qualm.
are ways to do it.
No. Here's a qualm, and it actually connects to a New Girl plot point. If you watch New Girl, this is a little side tangent.
Okay.
But Jess and Fancy Man, what's his name? The rich guy in, like, season 1? Richard? Duncan? I always forget his name.
Oh my god, I know what it is. It's on the tip of my tongue!
Okay, but it's Fancy Man. And so, Jess and Fancy Man, you know, it's the same thing where he's like, she's like, I want you to be in my life because they're doing all his fancy things and staying at his big
Oh my
house.
God, that bugged me too!
And he comes and stays at her apartment, and I'm like, I'm sorry, Jessica Day, but you are a 30-year-old woman with 4 adult male roommates. Yeah. Leave their asses behind. Russell. And go with your fancy man. Like, grow up and go do that. You know what I'm saying?
Wouldn't you just rather be in the nicer house, too?
Yes!
Like, I would rather spend time there.
I'm sorry, if Cody was the god of the underworld, when I was dating Cody...
I'm not inviting him to my college apartment.
No, I'm like, I don't want him to come to my college apartment. Forget college, I'm dropping out, you know?
Especially because this whole time, she's literally a goddess, and Hades is trying to convince her to, like, drop the mortal act and, like, be a goddess.
That's embarrassing for her too. Like, I'm sorry. It's like people who pretend to be poor when they're not poor.
She's like, no, I want my immortal life. I want to be a journalist and do it. I'm like, no, you don't. No one does.
You want the hustle
of
your
tiny ass apartment? If I have the choice, I'm going to be queen of the underworld.
Yeah.
Especially because it just, like, she makes friends in the underworld. She becomes friends with, like, Hermes and Hecate.
Yeah, and she loves it. She thinks it's beautiful down there.
Yeah, so, and like, all the, like, lost souls love her, like, because she goes and, like, the dead souls.
Yeah.
Because actually everyone is very happy in the underworld, you find out. Like, Hades really cares about them.
And
they
so
really care about him.
She's loving it down there. And she's like the queen. They throw a whole party for her. Which brings me to the toga part, actually.
Okay, yeah.
Because they, like, love Persephone. They start calling her the queen, the queen of the underworld.
They make her a crown.
So they throw this whole ball. And Persephone and Hecate, they do it at Hades' palace or whatever.
Yeah.
And Hades comes, and that's a big deal, because I guess he doesn't go see his people. You know, whatever.
He doesn't make appearances.
But so, they have this ball, and, Persephone. Okay, first of all, who is there? Who's that little blonde one? Hermes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That little blonde one.
That little blonde guy. So Hermes, he's a messenger god. He comes to the party. He and Persephone are kind of like friends in this book. Like, they've met each other a few times and they're friends. And it's, like, so childish. Like, they're dancing together, and what does he say? He's, like, says something stupid, like, oh, I think he's a crush on you. Like, whatever.
Yeah. Like, are you guys gonna go have makeup sex or something? Like, yeah, he's always making those kind of comments.
I don't know. It just felt childish to me. And Persephone's like, I blushed and whatever. And but then she does go up to Hades. She goes up to his throne, and she's like, let's dance. So they dance, and it's so good. They leave the dance floor just to go
to the balcony.
They go to the upper floor balcony. This is all that's said in that sex scene. He lifted her up. His toga parted. She's not wearing underwear. In 80% of the scenes in this book, she doesn't have underwear on.
I know, he's always just lifting her dress and putting it in.
Yes,
like,
I'm sorry. That feels unsanitary.
That's
to me.
crazy.
Girly girl.
You're
dancing
yourself.
at a ball, too? You're getting sweaty down there. You're, like, dancing.
And what if someone, like, lifts you up or you have to do a dip or something?
And you're just gonna let that slide on out of
It's like the scene in New Girl where Fawn is not wearing underwear.
Yeah,
she bends down to pick up the
tournament.
golf ball.
It's outrageous. But so, yeah, his toga just parts, and it's so easy peasy, and they have sex on the balcony, and then they, like, walk 2 steps and can literally see everyone. I'm like, that's insane.
That's so crazy. They really, was it in the first book? I'm pretty sure that no, maybe this was in the second book. They have, like, sex on the dining room table. After, like, literally...
I think that might have been in the first book.
Because everyone is, like, in there having dinner.
Oh, no. Then that's not...
Okay.
I think they do maybe have sex in the kitchen in the first book. But,
yeah.
like, it's not...
Okay, this scene literally, like, they walk in from, like, a stroll through the garden. Everyone, like, Hecate, Hermes, all the, like guards and stuff are, like, having dinner. And Hades is, like growls. He's like, get out. And then they just, like, make everyone leave their dinner.
That's disrespectful.
And just fuck on the dining room table. I'm like, oh my god, that's so rude.
That is rude. I have to be frank. I'm not gonna read the second book.
Okay, can I spoil something then?
Yeah.
Guess who dies?
Persephone?
No.
Persephone?
Sephi?
Yeah, people call her Sephi, like syphilis or something. I hate it.
It always makes me think of an illness. Every time
Sephi?
Hermes is like, hey Sephi, I'm like,
or like
shut
strep
up.
throat. It kind of sounds like you got
Call her
streppy.
Purse before you call her Sephi.
Purse. I don't like that.
It's better
either.
than Sephi.
Just call her Persephone.
Or just I don't know. I guess there's not a
Phony.
good nickname for Persephone.
Hey, phony. Okay, no, who dies?
Lexa.
What?
Yeah.
How did she die?
A car accident. It's so sad. Not even anything mystical or magical or like anything like crazy. She literally just gets hit by a car crossing the street.
That is so crazy. I'm so sorry.
So crazy.
Cody, did you even hear that? Cody's sitting here listening. Those books are so crazy. That reminds me of a little story. Can I do another tangent?
Yeah.
I just started a new job this week, and it's on a construction site. I'm doing, like, decorative art for
Concern of what this reminds you of.
It's not even funny, it's sad. Okay.
I'm scared!
So since it's on a construction I had to do safety training. I had to do, like, 10 hours of OSHA, which is safety hazards something. Occupational safety hazards.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I did all of that, and every section of OSHA opens with like, you could die from this, and plenty of people have, and let me just tell you all the stories of people who died. So I was like kind of scared. So the first day on the job, I'm like going through orientation at the job site, and I was talking to this one guy, and he's like, you know, like a career construction worker, and so he's like, oh, is this your first time on a construction site? And I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of nervous, like OSHA made me really nervous about it. And he's like, yeah, you know, construction sites can definitely be dangerous, but they try and keep us safe. He's like, but you know, anything can happen. He's like, we had a guy die on my last job site. And I was like, oh my god, what happened? And he's like, he shot himself in the chest. I was like, I don't think that's really applicable to my OSHA concerns. God. I was like, I don't know how to respond to that. Like, that's so sad, but I don't think
Hopefully you didn't
I didn't. I'm like, I don't think that's a hazard for me.
That's so crazy.
It was crazy. I did not laugh because I was just like so taken aback. I was like, oh my god, and that is horrible. Like, that's so awful.
That is horrible, but that's just
was like,
so not what I was expecting you to say.
I was thinking about it later in the day, and I was just like, it's crazy. So, when you said Lexa dies in a car crash, that's when I was like,
oh my god. Okay. I have so many questions now, but
I don't think I have answers, quite frankly.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, I think the point of her death, because she, like, bargains with Hades for her life and stuff, you know, and
Lexa
like,
does?
No, Persephone does.
Oh, okay,
She's like, you're the god of the dead, like, why can't you save my friend? And Hades like, that's not how it works, you know, like, whoever
which
dies...
Which he explains in the first book. So
yeah.
the Fates, like, take who they want. The Fates decide who dies. He just is kind of, like, facilitating
cut
the
their
death.
life stream. Yeah. Hades is kind of just, like, the protector of the dead. Like, he rules over their, like, afterlife and stuff, and that's what made me so mad, because he does explain it in the first book, and then she's literally, like, yelling at him, like, being so fucking mean to him, like, if you're like, what's the good of you being the god of the dead if you can't even save my friend? And he, like, shows her this, like, tattoo that he has. It's, like, strings of people's lives. Like, so they're, like, life strings, the strings of fate.
Okay, I was like, this better not be a dumbass tattoo.
No. He had bargained for, like, other people's lives before he had bargained with the fates to, like, keep them alive longer or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so it's, like, not, like, necessarily an actual tattoo, but it's, like, marks of the strings of all these people's life on his chest that he has to, like, carry with him for the rest of eternity now. And it's, like, even after she sees that tattoo, she's like, I still hate you, you suck. I'm like, shut up. Like, you're such a child.
I feel like she's a child the whole book. But she is. She's like, what, 20? And Hades is like...
she's like 19.
I think she's like 22, they say in the book.
Really?
Yeah, because I remember...
God, she acts like a freaking 12-year-old.
Yeah, well, 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds are still young. So, I think she's like 22, because they still follow drinking guidelines of like...
Oh, that's true, so, yeah.
Which in a fictional world, you could do whatever you want, so I don't know... But whatever.
Then the craziest, so Apollo, the god Apollo, ends up being like a really bad guy. Like, he sucks. Like,
well, he's the god of war.
He's literally but he's also the god of music and stuff.
Wait, Apollo's not the god of war?
No, that's Ares.
That's Ares.
Yeah. Looks to Cody. He's not, right?
Hey, Cody's like the resident
fact
checker for Greek mythology. I was like, the name sounds similar.
Yeah. So they end up like Persephone makes a deal with him because he's the god of, like, music and healing and stuff.
Okay.
So she's like, please, like, heal Lexa. And Hades has, like, told her multiple times, like, do not trust Apollo. He's a really bad guy. Persephone's like, screw it. I'm gonna ask him to heal Lexa. So he does. He goes to the hospital and, like, shoots his, like, bow of healing into her.
He takes his bow to the hospital?
Yeah, it's literally, like, this whole big... He, like, shoots her in the chest with this bow, like, an arrow of healing. It's so crazy, the way it's described, too, because he's, like, just walks up and then just, like, magically, like, materializes it. It just, like, it's so crazy. But then Lexa wakes up and she's, like, out of it. She's, like, pissed, too. She's like, I was ready to die. Like, I was pretty much already accepted my fate. I was, like, excited to go to the underworld. And now she's, like, terrified. She's like, I'm not supposed to be here. And she's, like, screaming and stuff. And Hades is like, I fucking told you so. And Persephone's like, I was just trying to save my friend, and, like, clearly doesn't see that Lexa's suffering, so then Lexa ends up killing herself. It's so crazy. She literally commits suicide, and then, Persephone's in the underworld one day with Hades, like, taking a stroll, and the, like, fairy comes up, and she's like, Lexa? Oh my god, what are you doing here? And Lexa's like, I wanted to die, dude, and you didn't let me. Like, you didn't let me die the first time. She's like, I couldn't handle it, I couldn't take it, I tried, but then, suicide's like a sin, so she has to drink from the river of
Is it in Greek?
Well, it's not like a sin, but it's like...
That's a very Catholic belief.
It's considered, like, you're hurting too much, obviously. Like, you, like... So you have to drink from the river that makes you forget. Like, it wipes your memories.
Yeah. And then she's,
you're
like,
sent
in
to that, like...
Asphodel?
No. You're sent to that, like, garden of, like, Eden place. Like, it's... In the first book, it's described as, like, very magical, but it's, like, where the souls who have, like, been through too much pain go to heal. Oh. And it's, like, described as, like, a paradise. So you're just kind of, like, in a little orchard, like, you know, ethereal, ethereal.
I don't like when it's, like, ancient things in a modern setting.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite.
It's
I don't know, it could be good, but it was done poorly.
I period, don't like fantasy in the modern world. Like, I was reading Crescent City, and, like, 3 pages in, it was like, I pulled out my cell phone. I'm like, nope, no. Throw it away.
Sarah J. Maas books?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, Crescent City is set in the modern world.
You can forget it. I'm never touching that book.
That's why I was so excited. I was like, oh, the next series, I'm so hyped. And
yeah,
it was like,
I'm sorry. If you're in a fantasy world and have a cell phone...
She works at an art gallery, which is sick, but then she's like, oh, gotta text Donica and let her know I'm on my way home. I'm like, shut up, stop. I'm done.
No, thank you.
I hate it.
Yeah, that's gross. I feel like that's just irresponsible as an author. You're gonna do something like that.
I'm sure there's lots of fantasy set in the modern world.
Here's the thing, though. Fantasy, I want to escape. I'm reading fantasy because I want to escape.
I want to be reminded of my real life.
No, because then I'm thinking of my phone. I'm thinking of my responsibilities. True. I'm thinking of my work. I'm like, no, thank you.
True.
Ew. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Let's
Any
give
other points you want to touch on?
No, I feel like we can give our ratings and our
our
pitch for if we think people should read it or not.
Okay.
And then close up there.
Okay.
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Sure. I'll give it 2 ratings. I'll give it a rating for how, like, well written I think it is, and a rating for how much I enjoyed it.
Okay, yeah.
Well written, I think it's a 3 out of 10. I think it's not very good. It's very cringy. The writing seems very YA, even though it is, like, an adult book because of all the smut. But it was a really fun read. I enjoyed it because it's fun to make fun of it, but it also was, like you said, very light, very easy. I think I read it in, like, 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would do a 7 out of 10 for if I enjoyed it and if I think you should read it.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, my writing score would be, like, 2 out of 10. Honestly, I don't know. I feel like...
It was rough.
It was a whole book. I'll give the author that. That's really good.
She got it published. Good job, girl.
But my enjoyment, and I think this is the most important thing, because this is how I judge and how I recommend things. Yeah. And I would say 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10!
I loved it. I have told everyone I've met about it. I literally was talking about it at work today with someone.
Oh my gosh.
I just think that it is, it's kind of like, I don't know. It really was fun to read.
It was.
The smut was good. It was confusing as hell.
But it was good smut.
But it was good.
It made me feel some type of way.
Yeah. Also, I thought that was kind of a fun reading experience, too. I'm just reading a paragraph, and then all of a sudden I have to reread that paragraph 7 times, because I'm like, wait, how did we get here? Did I miss something?
Trying to connect. It's like that meme, you're like...
I thought I was missing pages in my book. The first scene that happened, I went back and read it like 4 times. I was like, there's no way.
That's so funny.
But so, I think a good book, it makes you want to keep reading. And I did, and I finished it super quick, so...
I went and bought the 2nd book, and I plan on buying the 3rd. They just didn't have it at Target last time I went.
Yeah. Good book. I think good book. Good writing.
Also, I know it's too late in the episode, but if you are still reading the book, I mean, we just spoiled the whole thing, the whole first 2 books for you. So, I know Jordan's like halfway through. He's like not done reading it yet, so he's gonna know how it ends now, but...
Did we even say how it ends? We didn't even say how it ends. So look, we left a little mystery.
There we go. So if you want to read it, you got a little bit of a...
I guess we should have said she grows life, but then you still don't know what happens because there's a lot going on in the story. Yeah. A lot
turmoil,
of loose ends, shall we say.
Of things that could happen.
Oh, okay, one other thing. I'm going to put it in real quick. They had, like, a Met Gala. I hated that.
Oh, really? I loved that.
I
thought that was so fun.
Ripped off the entire Met Gala, but all the gods and goddesses go and dress up. I was like, what the frick?
I thought it was fun to see, like, how they dressed up and stuff, and then, like...
Yeah, I just hate that it literally was like, the Met Gala.
Yeah.
I was
like, but then, like, seeing who everyone brought as their date, I thought was fun. Like, obviously Hades brings Persephone, but no, he brings Myth.
Yeah, he doesn't... And Myth has never gone
and Persephone gets jealous.
Does he bring Myth? No, he doesn't go, because he doesn't go on the carpet. He just gives his speech.
No, I swear to God he comes with Myth. Because then Persephone gets jealous as hell.
She comes on the stage with him, but he doesn't come on the carpet because he just is giving a speech, I think. Well, I'll have to read it.
For the Halicon project.
Yeah. Halcyon?
I don't know.
Halcyon.
The whole thing, the whole 2 books, I was like, I don't know how to pronounce this.
Anyways, we hope you read it, and we hope you let us know your thoughts, because we obviously had a lot.
A lot of thoughts, but it's fun. And it's fun to talk about with your friends. It was a good book to read with you, I think.
It was a very fun book to read with another person.
If I had read it alone, I would have not liked it as much, I think.
Well, and even like I said, I had to stop a lot of times and get Cody to like listen to it, and I was reading it out loud to Cody because I'm like, this is so crazy. So it really was like a fun read.
Yeah, I would have. Yeah, if I had read it alone, I too badly would have wanted like, Hattie, I just want to talk about it with you.
Yeah. So find a reading buddy, or give us a call, send us a message, because
we'll
we get it.
About it.
We get it. And with that, we will see you next week. Probably.
Most likely.
Bye!